Let's check your trivia knowledge on all things animals. If you get over 80% here, you can probably go work for National Geographic. Make sure you give your best. Let's start off really easy. Would you say it's true that pigeons have better vision than humans? It's 100% true. Pigeons have a 360-degree vision. Plus, they can see greater distances than us humans. I bet you'll get this one right. True or false? Do snakes have infrared sensitive receptors? It's true. Snakes tend to hunt at night.
This allows them to see the radiated heat of warm-blooded mammals.
Moving on to cows. Is it fact or fiction that cows can't see the color red? If you said fact, then you got it right. Our beautiful cows can't see colors as well as humans.
They can't see the color red because they don't have the necessary receptors in their retinas for that. So they only perceive variations of blue and green.
Let's say you're walking in a field filled with horses and you wave a little flower right in front of a horse's face. Is it true that the horse wouldn't even see it? As bizarre as it sounds, it's true.
Horses have a blind spot right in front of their faces because of their eye placement. This means they can't see things directly in front of them.
If you were a fish, would you say your underwater vision would be the same as humans? True or false? This is false.
Fish eyes have ultraviolet receptors and a more spherical lens than humans. This gives them an almost 360-degree vision. As for colors, they're able to see all the same ones as we humans do. But because light behaves differently underwater, they have a hard time discerning red and its shades.
Sharks, one of the ocean's most fearsome creatures, can see well in the dark. Is that a myth or true? That is absolutely true.
Sharks, on the other hand, can't distinguish colors at all, but they see much clearer under the water than we do.
Here's a peculiar one. Is it true that birds can't tell the difference between a female and a male of their own species? Nope, that is false, of course.
Birds can see ultraviolet light. This helps them differentiate between males and females of their own species, as well as better navigate in their surroundings.
Now, is it true that dogs have better eyesight than eagles? Nah, that's totally false. Eagles and falcons, for example, can focus on a small mouse in the field up to a distance of 1 mile. I have a good one for you. Flies see everything at a super speed. Is that true or false? This is a trick question, but it's false.
Flies have thousands of little eye receptors that work together to give them a big picture of what's going on around them. And get this, they see everything in slow-mo. Plus, they can see ultraviolet light. It helps them with communication.
Bees have problems of their own. They mistake red for dark blue. It is a fact, folks. How crazy is that? Now rats. These little guys can't see red either. But is it true that they have microscopic vision? Nah, that's false. Their special feature is that their
Eyes moves on its own, so they're seeing double like all the time. It's a wonder they don't run into more walls, am I right?
We say cats are ninjas because they can see more colors than any other animals. Is that true? Nope, that's not true.
Cats don't see shades of red or green, but they do see brown, yellow, and blue hues like a boss. Plus, they got a wide-angle view, so they can peep more stuff on the sides than we can. There's more, though. When it's pitch black outside, cats become ninja-like and can see 6 times better than us. Their pupils adjust to any lighting like magic.
Now let's talk about dogs. These furry friends can differentiate 40 shades of grey. Is that true or false?
These furry friends can't see red or orange, but they do rocket blue and violet. Plus, they can differentiate 40 shades of gray. I mean, it's not 50, but still impressive.
The beloved little frogs need to hunt based on movement and not just color. Is that true or false? It's true. Frogs are really picky eaters.
They won't even bother with food that isn't moving. They could be surrounded by a buffet of delicious bugs, but if they don't wiggle, frogs won't even bat an eye, and they're not the most observant creatures either. If something isn't important to them, like a shadow, they won't even bother looking at it.
Our chameleon friends can move their right eye independently of their left eye. Would you say that's a yay or a nay? It's true.
Chameleons have eyes that can move independently of each other, so they can see everything around them without even turning their heads. They can even see two images at the same time, like a double feature movie, one in front and one behind. Pretty impressive, right? What would you do if you suddenly got 360-degree vision like a chameleon? Share in the comments.
Now, let's move on to the next level. We're busting some real animal myths here. I have a good one for you. Mice's favorite food in the world is in fact cheese. Is this true or false? It's false.
Now, one of the most common animal myths is that mice love cheese. It popped out a long time ago, probably as early as when people started storing food. Since mice are regular visitors to human homes, they were constantly looking for food they could eat. People used to store grains in glass jars. They also kept their meat hanging up high. But they'd lay the cheese on the shelf, which was an easy target for all the unwelcome pantry visitors like mice. So they ate it, because they couldn't reach anything better. But a mouse will definitely more likely go after chocolate or some other sweet thing than the cheese. Who can blame them?
Here's a great one. Flamingos stand on one leg so they won't get cold. True or false? False.
This is just a simple way for them to spare the effort. It's exhausting for us humans to stand on one leg, but for them, this is the most stable position possible considering their peculiar anatomy. This pose doesn't require any muscular work. Now I'm jealous.
Ostriches hide their head in the earth when they are scared. Is that a myth or actually true? This is false.
A long time ago, researchers thought ostriches weren't very smart because they bury their heads in the ground without being aware the rest of their large bodies are still out there, where everyone can see them. In fact, ostriches do it when they want to swallow sand and pebbles to boost their digestion or just turn over the eggs they lay in their nests. And even then, they technically don't bury their head, but put it near the ground. Otherwise, with its head in the sand, the poor thing wouldn't be able to breathe.
The largest thing a blue whale can swallow is another whale. Is that true or false? That's false.
Well, we're talking about the biggest animal ever known to have lived on our planet. It can grow up to 100 feet long with a weight of 200 tons. Its heart is as big as a car, and its tongue can weigh as much as an average elephant. It's easy to imagine a blue whale swallowing cars, people, and even small ships, perhaps. But it's all wrong. The largest thing it can actually swallow is a grapefruit. Its throat can take the size of a small salad plate. Whales feed on small fish, plankton, and marine crustaceans, so they don't need a bigger throat.
One of the best features in camels is that they are able to store water in their humps. Is that a myth or reality? It's just a myth.
We're talking about animals with extraordinary resistance to some pretty extreme conditions. They can survive even when drinking water only every 8 to 10 days. But not because they have a secret stash on their back. It's because, when they have a chance to drink, they will swallow 50 gallons of water at one sitting. They mostly use it to replenish 30% of their total body weight, an amount they can lose by dehydration. So, they lose a lot of water but quickly regain it. Their humps are where they deposit fat, but it's not for producing water.
Is it true that anteater's tongue can be as long as 2 feet long?
Yup, it's true.
Anteaters have very long tongues. Giant anteaters have tongues that go up to 2 feet long. It's the shape of a strand of spaghetti and covered in spiny hooks and sticky saliva that traps ants, up to 160 times in a minute, which means they eat up to 20,000 insects in a single day. That's a lot of bugs. They open anthills using their claws and then do the rest of the work with the tongue. They don't have teeth, so they only swallow all the insects they catch.
Here's a historical one. Did the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex really have terrible eyesight? Fact or fiction? This is totally fiction.
Movies might have given you a false sense of security when it comes to dinos. Nope, standing very still couldn't save you from a raging T-Rex coming after you. It's a myth. The Dino King had bad vision. These beasts may have seen better than modern-day raptors. They had excellent depth perception, something present in today's animals such as eagles and hawks. Even if, by some miracle, the Dino King can't see you or thinks you're just a small tree or some other object because you're standing so still, they had a pretty good sense of smell. So, the better option would be to run because the T-Rex is not as fast as scientists used to think, up to 33 miles per hour.
Our owl friends can spin their heads 360 degrees. Is that true or false?
That's actually false, folks.
Their head spinning does have its limit, 270 degrees in one direction. Since they can turn 270 degrees to the left and right, owls have a 540-degree range of motion.
When you were growing up, your mother probably told you that if you touched a butterfly wing, it would lose its ability to fly. Is that true or false? That's false.
If you touch a butterfly's wings, the animal won't lose its ability to fly. It will survive, despite the common myth that says the opposite. Butterfly wings have scales. When you touch them, some scales might shed off, but it's not a bad thing, because they shed off naturally too. Because of sheddable scales, they can escape more easily if they get stuck and trapped in spider webs.
Hey, is it true that wolves howl at the moon? It's actually false.
The next myth has inspired many movies, books, and TV series scenarios, but no, wolves don't howl at the moon. They typically howl at night, true, but because that's the period of time when they're most active. They'll also look up while howling since this helps the sound travel. That way, other wolves will hear them from around 6 to 7 miles away. And that's why they howl in the first place, to communicate with each other.
True or false? Giraffes only need 30 minutes of sleep a day. That's another myth.
They sleep about 4.5 hours daily. It's not that unusual for animal species that are most active during daylight. Studies also show giraffes usually lay down to sleep for less than 11 minutes at a time.
Here's to test your expertise. Moles are blind. Is that true or false, my friends? That's false.
These small burrowing mammals actually can see. It's just their vision is really poor and only adapted to recognize light. They're also colorblind. When they're searching for food and navigating the dark underground, these creatures mostly rely on their touch and sense of smell. Now, their sense of touch is sharp, which is why moles can feel nearby vibrations of activity. This helps them avoid danger or find their next meal more easily, like millipedes, worms, centipedes, and other invertebrates. Yum! They're really fast at digging and can dig a couple of inches per minute.
Okay, so animals hibernate at wintertime due to the harsh temperatures. Is that true or false? That's false.
In the winter, animals hibernate not because it's too cold for them to be outside, but because there isn't enough food during that period. When an animal is in hibernation, its heart rate, body temperature, breathing, and other metabolic activities slow down significantly. That's how they conserve energy. Chipmunks, bats, turtles, snakes, they all hibernate during the winter, which saves them energy for other seasons when they get more active and are capable of getting more food. I'd say bears too, but they're not the true hibernators. If you try waking one up during the winter when you believe the animal is sleeping, you might end up having a bad time.